Oh, I love these pictures. Oh, hey kids, good to see you. I was just looking at some pictures. You're probably wondering what is putting on my smile on my face looking at these awesome pictures. Well, before I show you these, I want to tell you that recently I took a very long road trip to San Diego to pick up a person and bring them back to El Paso, someone who is very near and dear to my heart. Actually, someone in these photos. But before I show you that, maybe you could guess how long my road trip was. I'll give you a hint. It was 11 hours and it took me 2 days to drive it. And I made two different trips in 2 different months. So I was there all of August and then I was there about a week in September. And that's a pretty, long ways to go. So do you think I maybe went 500 miles, 1,000 miles? Remember, I made the trip twice. So I drove there and back, there and back. And let me tell you, I drove 2,900 miles. What? I deserve a crown for that. Yeah, that was a long road trip. Now, why did I make this special trip to San Diego in my adorable little cat car? See, and there's my cat on my car. It's so cute. Well, I went to go pick up, drum roll please. I went to go pick up my mother. There she is, Eunice. I just call her mom. And my mother, after living her entire life in San Diego, decided to move to El Paso a month ago. We were all totally shocked and just happy as clams that she decided to make this life move to here to El Paso. She lived in her house with my dad, the one house for 60 years. That's the house I grew up in. And the house is actually being sold right now. But while I was there, we had a huge garage sale, and she had so much stuff after living there 60 years, and God really blessed the sale that she made a lot of money, and through the sale of the all the items in the house, she was able to use a lot of that money to help with her move to El Paso because it's very expensive to move. But while we were in San Diego, we had a great time visiting family and friends. And here's my mom with her granddaughter, also named Naomi, and that's her family. And then finally the day came, this was about a month ago, when my mother got on the airplane and she flew here to El Paso. And that very day, I got back in my adorable cat car and I drove back to El Paso for 2 days. And now my mother lives here in El Paso in her house with her adorable little kitten. If you can see her there, she is. Her name is Roxy. And thank you, Fan, because Fan helped us get little Roxy and give her to my mother. Now, back to that amazing long road trip. How do you think I was able to drive all the way from here to San Diego without getting lost or losing my way? Since I wasn't very familiar with the roads, I definitely needed something to guide me and give me instruction to get me there safely. Something that would say, like, turn left here, go straight for 3 miles, catch the freeway, exit this ramp, things like that. So, what do you think I used? Well, back in the day when I was a little girl, if I ever went on a really long road trip, my dad, who would be driving, he would pull out the huge map. My mother would have to hold it, and then he would have to follow the instructions on the map to get us, say, to Disneyland or wherever we were going to go. And that's how you did it back in the day. But these days, nobody uses those big road maps. They use the GPS or Google Maps. It's on your cell phone. So you'll be driving down the road, la 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 la, and then you hear a voice that tells you, turn left, turn right, and you have to obey the rules. You have to listen to the GPS very carefully and do what it says to get you there safely. So that's exactly what I did. But what would have happened if I would have said, I'm going to just blow it off and make up my own rules? I would have never gotten to San Diego. I would have totally been lost. But thank the Lord, I followed the instructions. And do you know that that's how the Bible is for us in our lives? It is our guide, it is our roadmap, it is our GPS, it is our instruction book. It shows us the way in which we should go to prevent us from getting lost spiritually. It directs our steps and it keeps us moving in the right direction. It keeps us close to the Lord. It keeps us on the straight and narrow. It keeps us focused in our minds and obedient in our hearts. And because God knows the best paths for our lives, in Psalms 32:8, God is speaking here, and he says, I will guide you along the best pathway for your life, and I will advise you and watch over you. And you know what, kids? We can be assured and know that because God wrote this awesome book of instruction for us to follow, it says in 2 Timothy 3:16, let me read you this. This is something you can just count on with your entire life. All scripture is inspired by God and is useful to teach us what is true and to make us realize what is wrong in our lives. It corrects us when we are wrong and teaches us to do what is right. So, you know what, kids? God did his part by giving us this amazing Bible to guide us and to keep us close to him. But we must do our part and actually pick it up and read it and follow its instructions. Because just like when I was driving cross country, get to San Diego, if I hadn't listened to the GPS, I would have totally been lost. And when we don't listen to God's instructions, we too get lost and we're not close to him. And that is not a good place to be. To be far from God and to be lost, that's a pretty scary thing. So to prevent that from happening in your life, I'm going to read you this in Proverbs 3:5 and 6. This is the answer to prevent you from getting lost. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. So, kids, my challenge for you this week is for you to pick up the guidebook, the GPS, our roadmap for life, and read it and take it to heart and believe it and trust in it, the Bible.